Hello friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. In today's video, I'm going to be chatting about my spooky Halloween themed eyeshadow palettes that I personally own in my collection. I already did post my full autumn favorites video where I chat about very autumnal blushes, highlighters I'm loving right now, autumn eyeshadow palettes, lipsticks, things like that. And I wanted to do a dedicated video specifically for like Halloween-y eyeshadow palettes. Otherwise, the autumn favorites was gonna be like 5 hours long. So I decided to split them and we're gonna be talking about Halloween goodies today. I ended up pulling 20 eyeshadow palettes in my collection, almost 20. One of them is technically on its way to me, but I'll still talk about it anyways because I'm going to own it at some point, but these are the ones I have to talk about today. I love these eyeshadow palettes. I can't believe how many I have. I talked about Halloween spooky eyeshadow palettes last October, and I feel like it's already grown exponentially. I love that brands are getting more into releasing Halloween collections, or even just an item that's Halloween related, because for a long time it was very few and far between, and it's become a lot more popular, and I personally love that. As always, I've already done videos with all of these palettes, sometimes multiple videos. You can check my YouTube, you can check my Instagram and TikTok if you need inspo, and then my goal is to revisit as many of these as possible during the spooky season, so just stay tuned. I'm sure I've already dabbled in some of these at this point. Before we get into it though, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on my Instagram and TikTok by the time this video goes up. And then as far as my accessories go, these plugs are Love Kills Boutique. This choker I think is from Raven Beads. It's very old though. And this ponytail is from insert name here. It's the Jordan one. So yeah, without further ado, let's just hop in and chat about the Halloween eyeshadow palettes that I own in my collection. First things first, for spooky eyeshadow palettes, have to talk about my collabs, of course. My collabs with Shroud Cosmetics. I love these with my whole heart. I use them all the time. We have my It's Freakin Bats palette right here. So stinking cute. I'm still so proud of this. This one we launched back in October of 2020 and it sprinkled out into 2021 because it got way bigger than we expected. As of this moment, it's still in stock as I record this, but if it is out of stock by the time this video goes up, it will continue restocking as long as there's a demand. I'm still in love with this guy. And then of course, my new love, my new baby, my Hallobean palette that we just launched this year. I adore this so, so much. At this moment that I'm filming this, we haven't announced a restock date yet. Chloe is taking a much needed break from working very, very hard getting all these out. But this will be again restocking as long as there's a demand. There might be a restock date announced by the time this video goes up, and if that's the case, it will be down below in the description box for you. So yeah, if it's not down there, it will be being announced soon, so just stay tuned. This next one is the only crossover from my autumn favorites, and I realized when I was prepping for this video, I should have just saved this one for this video and not put it in my autumn favorites, but you know, it is what it is. It's another one from Shroud, the Arcana palette, and while it's not Halloween specifically, it's very mystical, magical, witchy vibes. And I feel like this fits in really, really well with this video. Honestly, better in this video than the other video. But this is very fall to me as well. Like this is like grungy jewel tone fall, but it also fits perfectly with the spooky vibes, and I adore this one as well. Next up, Sugar Pill. The Capsule 3 is such a spooky dream, not only with these grungy colors, but also with the shade names. We have shades like Coven, Gloomy, Hex, Purgatory, Grim, Oogie, lots of spooky names in here. And again, while this doesn't like scream Halloween or have the word Halloween plastered all over it, it's definitely a spooky palette in my mind. I think this launched around October of 2020 maybe, if I had to guess. I'm not sure, but I count this one. This is definitely a magical mystical palette. Next up, Melt Cosmetics. I have the Beetlejuice palettes. I did not have these for the longest time. I passed on these in 2020 mostly for financial reasons. But one of my friends gifted me hers recently because she wasn't getting enough use out of them, and I will cherish these until the day I die. They are just so precious. First, we have the Recently Deceased. This one screams Beetlejuice, obviously. These are literally in collab with Beetlejuice, so that's amazing. Beetlejuice vibes 100%. Love this one. Unfortunately, these aren't available anymore, but I have them, and I'm really excited to include them in my collection and in this video. And we have the Waiting Room palette. This one is more like red, black, smoky vibes. Definitely pulls at my 2000s scene kid heartstrings. I think it's such a cool color story. It's not the one I reach for the most right now, but I do still really like this palette. I have a lot of fun with it. Next up, Black Moon Cosmetics. This is the Urban Myth palette. I feel like this fits in so well with this video. It's all the different urban legends and myths and things like that. We have things like Bigfoot, Bloody Mary, Boogeyman, Mothman. It's such a cool palette. I can't believe more people haven't jumped on this like kind of theming. I know it's not the only one that's ever existed with this theming, but I'm shocked that more brands haven't, you know what I mean? I think it's such a fun color story and just such a cool theme, and I really like this. This one's been out for a hot minute though. I would love for more releases from Black Moon. I feel like they stay very quiet for a while and then they'll like release a banger, you know? Next up is one from Reza Beauty. This is the Sweet Tragedy palette. It's obviously a coffin. That gives it a point for this video. But it looks like this. I still to this day don't know how I own this one. I don't know if the brand just sent it to the mailing address that I have in my description boxes, or if this was a subscriber gift. There was no note. The brand has not confirmed or denied, so I don't know how I own this one, but I do enjoy it. I think the shimmers are quite lovely, especially these two. Really like the green and purple. There are shades in here that I don't really care about, like honestly this whole like bottom section, aside from like maybe these two. I just don't really care about, and I honestly don't utilize a matte black and a matte white that often. Like I will use them, but I feel like when I need them, I know which ones I like the best, so I don't need them in every single palette. It's kind of just this middle area that I like, you know? So there is a huge chunk of this palette that I don't really get a lot of use out of, but it is a spooky palette for sure, literally a coffin, so it's in this video. Next up, this one makes me so happy. This is the Lethal Cosmetics Lethal is Dead palette. This was in collab with Teresa's Dead, and I'm just still so excited about this one. It's just gorgeous. What a fun color story. I love just the pairing of like these grungy tones with the brights. It's just such a cool combo, and the shade names are just perfect. We have The Final Girl, Creature Feature, Vengeful Spirit, so many fun names in here. I'm still so proud of Teresa, and this collab is just so cool. I was honored to be able to throw this in this video. It is just such a fun one, and I love the packaging. I love everything about it. Well, hello there. Popping in the next day because literally mere hours after filming the spooky palette video that I filmed yesterday, the new Teresa is Dead collab with Lethal arrived at my door. I didn't even know this was a thing, and then it arrived and then it got announced, and I'm like, this would happen right after I filmed that video because this palette absolutely deserves to be in this video as well. So I figured I would just pop in really quick, show it to you, all that good stuff. This has already launched by the time this video goes up as well, and I have already posted my video on YouTube, so you can go check that out if you're interested. But it looks like this. Teresa is Lethal. It's so stinking cute. And the color story is just amazing. All things alien and extraterrestrial. It is alien and spooky and wonderful, and I love everything about this. And this definitely deserved a spot in this video as well, because in my mind, aliens and extraterrestrial things also fall under the spooky category. So wanted to pop in and include this palette as well, but that's enough of me today. Let's let One Day Ago Betty Jean pick up where I left off and continue on with the rest of this video. Next up, my two cuties from Lunar Beauty, my Moonspell palettes. I will keep these forever, even just as decor. Like, mark my words, these are amazing. This is the first Moonspell palette. It's very hard to show this palette on camera because it's very reflective. I did break Prue a while ago, RIP. I'm wearing this one right now. I love revisiting this one every so often. I still think it's so fun. Unfortunately, this one's no longer available. But yeah, I still adore this one. I think this is such a cool color story. I do like this one more than the second one, but the second one I do enjoy as well. Looks like this. It's a little bit bigger, and the insides are kind of like a red, pink, purple color story. I really, really like these colors paired together. I think it's so fun. I believe this one is still in stock from last year, if I'm not mistaken. The shimmers in here are amazing, especially these two. They're like really dimensional and toppery. I just think this is a really fun palette. I've had so much fun playing with it, and I would not be mad if Manny continues to like release Moonspell palettes every so often. I would not be sad to collect those, and that is coming from someone who really does not have a collector's mentality anymore. I want more of those and I want them all now. Next up, I have two spooky palettes from Colourpop. First being the Nightmare Before Christmas palette that launched last year. It looks like this. Now, I agree with most people in the sense that I don't think this color story screams Nightmare Before Christmas. However, I do love this color story. I think it's cute. Again, kind of takes it back to my Scene Kid days, and I just think it's such a fun color story. I actually love using this one. I think the little embossings are adorable. I love that the vampire teddy has made an appearance as well. I think this is such a cute palette, and I'm really happy to have this one. And then I also have the OG Hocus Pocus palette, the Gather Round Sisters palette. Looks like this. I'm so torn on this one because it's like, I love aspects of it. Like, I feel like this middle section, I really enjoy. I think it fits in really well. There's just kind of some extra bits of nonsense. Like, really, I don't need these three. I really don't need any of these. Like, this one would be fine, but I don't like mattes with sparkle pressed in them. It's not my favorite. I don't know, there's things I love about this one and things I could live without. Overall, I think it's pretty cute though. I'm not super mad at it. I have obviously kept hanging on to it after the last few years, so it's obviously impressed me enough to keep sticking around. I don't own the one from last year. I honestly wasn't super impressed by that one. I just had no interest in picking that one up. And then the one this year, I don't know, I'm kind of indifferent because there's like a really pretty row of green and purple, but I feel like I have those mixed into a lot of my other Halloween-y palettes that I didn't need to go out of my way to buy that one. But I do still enjoy this one enough, for now at least. Next up, Give Me Glow, we have the Bad Witch Club palette. This one is definitely spooky season vibes. I did break this one and kind of shoved it back into place. It's so pretty. I love this color story, the green, blue, purple with the pops of coral. I think it's really cool, something a little unique for this time of year, and I get a lot of use out of this one. I think it's gorgeous. I've done some of my favorite looks ever with this palette. I love Give Me Glow's formulas, and I was really happy to have a spooky palette from them to include in this video. Next up, Nomad Cosmetics. Last year they came out with the Haunted Europe. I'm fairly certain this is getting discontinued, but last I checked, this was on sale on their website. So if you're interested, now's the time to snatch it up. So if you've heard me talk about this palette before, you know what I'm about to say. I feel like you can divide this palette in half perfectly. Like, this is my cute pumpkin patch half, and this is my like spooky graveyard half. And I feel like they mesh together so perfectly. It's such a beautiful color story with absolutely wonderful spooky Halloween theming. It's just everything to me. One of my favorite Nomad palettes ever, and I'm so stoked about this one. Next up, this one is newer to my collection and I'm in love with it. This is the Gourmande Girls collab with Doodles by the Bunny Spooked palette. Look at how beautiful this is. It's literally like Halloween threw up all over this palette. It is so fun. I love the mixtures of the classic Halloween tones with other additions to make it a little more spicy. This has been beautiful to work with. I'm loving the shimmers, and the mattes are just absolutely a dream to work with. This launched, I think, on the 26th, and hopefully it's still in stock by the time this video goes up. I don't know what their plans are off the top of my head about restocks and things like that, but I have been absolutely loving this palette, and I highly recommend if you're into the Halloween vibes. By the way, I will have all of these linked down below if they're available, along with any discount codes I have, just so it can make your life a little bit easier. Next up, we are finishing this up. I feel like I just cranked it out today. I've just been rattling all these off. I'm so excited to talk about them. I mean, you've heard me talk about all of these so many times if you've been here before. So it's really fun to like kind of put these together all in one palette. It's just, I love seeing them together. It's like a big group of friends hanging out. Although I don't know what that's like. I don't have a big group of friends. That would actually stress me out. Little bit of an introvert over here. I'd prefer fewer but nicer friends. Next is the Strange and Unusual palette by Beaute Bar. It looks like this, and it is gorgeous. I love the Beetlejuice vibes, as you know. It's just wonderful. I've had a blast with this palette as well. I think the mattes are lovely, but the shimmers steal the show for sure. So happy that I have this palette. So happy I've gotten the opportunity to try this brand, and I've been very impressed. This one did sell out, and then they ran 2 pre-orders immediately after, and both of those sold out. I think I saw them mention that if the demand is high enough, they will restock this in the future, but I'm pretty sure as of right now, it is out of stock and like sold out for good, but maybe they'll bring it back one day. I would really love to see that because I think it's a really fun palette and a lot of people seem interested in it. And last but not least, we're gonna wrap it up with Unearthly Cosmetics. First is the Not Normal palette, where this one doesn't scream Halloween, but because I always call this my grungy Beetlejuice palette, I feel like I have to include it in this video. This was like my Beetlejuice palette before I had Beetlejuice palettes. I think this is so cool, very grungy, definitely festive Halloween-y vibes, and I just adore this one, and I'm still super happy that I own it. I also have their collab from last year with Sydney Nicole Adams, the Hauntingly Glamorous palette. It's so pretty. Again, I just love the mixture of the grungy Halloween-y vibes with the bright colors. I think it's such a fun contrast, and this one has been so much fun to play with. Still so happy that I own this one. It's spooky and lovely and adds something a little bit different to my collection as well. And then honorable mention, Unearthly did launch 4 like Halloween horror themed palettes, and the Weirdos is on its way to me. I will have a picture of the Weirdos on the screen. I just don't have it yet, and I'm pre-filming before my trip, and I truly don't see it arriving within the next 2 days because I haven't gotten the notification that it's even shipped yet. I have the label, but not the shipment. So I figured I would just pop a picture. I'm very excited to use that one. I will definitely post a video when I do have it in my hands. I'm very excited. They also launched 3 others as well. They launched a Beetlejuice themed one, which I was very tempted by. I think it's called Strange and Unusual. I'll just pop a picture of that one here too. What are the other 2 called? I am blanking. It was a lot of palettes. Oh, it's called So Strange. Pardon me. I was very tempted by that one, but the Weirdos definitely like pulled at my heartstrings a little bit more. And they reached out offering to send me one, and they were like, pick one. And I was like, how do I pick just one? So I picked that one, and I thought I might buy a couple others on my own, but I'm swimming in makeup right now, and I just decided I would just get the one, and then maybe if I think about it harder, I'll pick up more, but I think I'm just gonna stick with the Weirdos. Yes, 1964 is this one. This one is also really, really pretty. It is so cute. And then if you love warm tones and fall tones specifically, this one is Warms My Blood. It's a little bit bigger, and it's just so warm, so cozy. These shimmers look amazing. Needless to say, I think that was a really cool launch for them. I'm really happy to get the Weirdos palette in my hands. And I think that wraps it up for this video. I don't think I'm forgetting something. If you think I am forgetting something, I mean, you can let me know, but it's probably just because I don't own it, because I looked through my collection heavily until I got to this point with my palettes, and I'm very excited. And it's really cool because I remember last year I was kind of like really scrounging trying to find ones to talk about for a video like this. I even picked ones that were just kind of like a Halloween appropriate color story, even though it had absolutely nothing to do with Halloween. Like I think I featured the Paradise Fallen from Ace Beaute, literally not even remotely a Halloween palette, but because it was very purple, I talked about it anyway. So this is kind of where I am. Again, if you want to see my very autumnal makeup recommendations, I already have my autumn favorites video posted. I would also love to hear which Halloween-y palettes you have in your collection. What are the spookiest palettes that you own? Let's chat down below. If you made it to the end of this video, why don't you leave some Halloween related emojis? And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me on my other socials. You can join the BATTYBEAN fam. I am BATTYBEAN on everything, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And if you want, you can subscribe. If you want to see more of my videos, I'm posting most days over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye. In the sense that I don't think this... Am I ever gonna do an eyeshadow palette video where I don't drop a palette? Like, what even was that? At least that one didn't land on the floor. Like, we're safe. Today is such a non-motivating day. At this moment, Hurricane Ian is on its way. It's not here yet. We are in the calm before the storm, but it is gloomy outside. It's starting to get drippy, drizzly. It's just gonna get rainier as the day goes on until the hurricane comes tomorrow. So yeah, just over here. Just trying to prep some videos, head off to work soon, get one last good day out of it before we maybe lose power tomorrow. And hopefully nothing worse than that.